Hello, just a really quick one to say, don't forget the 3 for 2 offer on the upcoming courses is on the pink button above the video. We start this coming Monday, the 1st of April, and we continue directly on from everything you've already started achieving and working on this week. It's a crazy good value offer for 6 whole months of sessions, so I really hope that you can come with us. Everything you need is on the pink button. Welcome to day 4 of the Ride Straighter, Deeper, Taller challenge, and today is a goodie. We are on to the 4th of the 5 key areas in our body's riding system. Today we're looking at the lower back and the lower abs. So today is all about those muscles through the core, which enable you to follow the horse's movement, to sit the trot, to stay tall and supple. And we're going to get into an awesome release for tight lower backs, a brilliant exercise for loosening all the way through the spine, and we're going to start to wake up those lower ab muscles and the back muscles, which are so crucial to great riding and to riding without pain or discomfort. So after this session, your back should feel awesome and will have started to wake up the muscle patterns that we need for easy and effective riding. So for those of you who've done the challenge previously, this is another day where we've got some new versions and adaptations for you. So let's go. And knowing how many of us struggle with lower back aches, definitely let me know how you feel after this one. Please do post in the Rider Pilates Club Facebook group, comment below the video, or drop me a message. Okay, so I'm all set up, ready to start today's session in a position where I can lie on my back and have my feet up against the wall. I've got my non-stretchy strap, this is just a belt off a dressing gown, and I am wearing grippy socks, so these are socks with little rubbery bits on the bottom, but you will want either grippy socks or trainers or bare feet so that you can get some grip onto the wall. Okay, so let's get started with our equalization for our SI joint and lower back. So come to lying on your back and pop your feet up against the wall, hip width, so no wider than your hips. And you want your knees at 90 degrees, so right angles in the knees with the hips below the knees. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move through essentially a sort of cycling motion. So we're going to use the hands to stop the knees from moving, and we're using the wall to stop the feet from moving. So the legs aren't actually going to move at all, but they're going to try to. So we're going to move through a sort of cycling motion where first one knee tries to come towards you while the other heel tries to push away. And you hold that, you gradually move into it, and then you hold for about 5 seconds, and then you gradually swap to the other side and have the other knee come towards you and the other heel push away, and you hold for around about 5 seconds, and then you gradually swap back, and you're moving through a very kind of like cycling through treacle, kind of slow cycling kind of feeling, but nothing's actually moving, and you're only putting in to a maximum of about 20% of your available maximum effort, if not less, okay? So it's very gentle, and we're using that movement to signal to all of the muscles around the SI and around the pelvis to get back into sort of equal level of switched onness, if that makes sense. So, no, it doesn't make sense, Jess, because that's not actually a word. You know what I mean. So, popping your hands against the knees or against the thighs to prevent any movement of the knees towards you. And we're going to move slowly into the first cycle. So bring one knee towards you into the hand and the other heel away into the wall. Hold at 20% effort for around about 5 seconds. And then very gradually and slowly swap over to the other side. So the other heel is pushing into the wall and the other knee is really pushing into the hand. But again, maximum only of about 20% effort. And then slowly and gradually swap back over to the other side. So the first knee is coming into the hand and that heel on the other side is pushing into the wall. 20% effort. And then cycle back to the other side. Make sure you're getting an equal amount of push into the hand as you're getting into the wall. It's obviously easier for the heel to push into the wall than for the knee to push into the hand. So try and make sure that's even. And back over to the other side. knee into the hand, heel into the wall, and swap gradually over to the other side. Knee into the hand, heel into the wall. Let's do a couple more pairs. Hold for 5 seconds and then over to the other side. Knee into the hand, heel into the wall. And the other side. Just cycling through. And one last pair. Heel into the wall, knee into the hand. And the last side. Heel into the wall, knee into the hand. Lovely job. And then release. Super. So now grab your strap. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring the knees together and we're going to cross the strap over so that we can hold the knees together with the strap. So make sure it's on a fleshy bit rather than anywhere where it's going to cause you a problem. And then what you're going to do here is same sort of vibe. You're going to use the strap to create tension, to hold the knees together, as the knees are going to try to 20% effort to open out against the strap, but nothing's actually going to move. Okay, so we're not squashing the knees together, we're just holding them next to each other here. So get that tension in the strap so that they can't move, and then 20% effort to bring the knees apart. Try and make sure it's equal effort from both legs. Hold for around about 5 seconds and release. And we'll go again. Tension in the strap. Knees, 20% effort to come apart. Hold for 5 and release. And then we go again. Tension in the strap. Knees try to come apart. The strap prevents it. Up to 20% effort. And release. And we'll do a couple more. So tension in the strap to prevent the knees from moving. Knees come apart, or try to, up to that 20% effort. And release. And we'll do one more. Tension in the strap. And then the knees equally making as much effort, one to move away from the other. Hold for around about 5 seconds. And then gently and gradually allow it to ease off. Super. And you can drop the strap. And then the last little set of this sequence, we're going to take the fists and we're going to put the fists together and pop them in between the knees. So bring the feet back round about, should be holding them at around about hip width. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to bring the knees together as the hands push back against the knees to prevent them coming together. So again, to around about 20% effort, the knees try to come together and the hands resist and push back at them to prevent them from moving. Hold for around about 5 seconds and then release and go again. So the hands are resisting, nothing's actually moving. You may well feel some effort going on in the pelvis, sort of flickering and release as the muscles try to make something happen. That's kind of the feeling that you're going for. Go for number 3. Is the feeling of muscles beginning to try to make something happen, but not actually getting there. And release. 2 more. So squeezing the knees into the hands, but the hands are just resisting and holding their ground. And release. And 1 more. Knees try to come together, hands try to take them apart. Around about 20% of a tussle, 20% maximum effort. And after about 5 seconds, we can release. Super. So just bring the knees in and have a little move through the hips if that feels good to you. Cool. And then take the feet back up to the wall. Just bring the bum, you might want to bring the bum slightly closer, especially if you've moved a little bit, but you don't want to be much more than about 90 degrees. 90 degrees is your ideal. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to drive the heels into the wall, and also imagine we're sort of trying to pull the heels down the wall. This is why you need grippy socks. as we use that movement to press the small of the back into the floor and tilt the pelvis under, engage the abs to push the lower back into the floor. And then we're going to do that a couple of times just to wake up the muscles before we're then going to come up into a bridge and roll down, okay? So, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs. Exhale to switch on the abs from the knicker to push the lower back into the floor. Push the heels down the wall and feel the tailbone start to lift. And just come a couple of inches up off the floor and then roll it with control really slowly back down onto the mat. Lovely. So that's the movement that we're going for, and that's the feeling that we're going for. And we're going to move up the spine and roll back down. So inhale into the back and side of the ribs to prepare. Exhale to scoop the abs, to push the small of the back into the floor. Heels go into the wall and down, and then we're curling up through the spine to lift one vertebra at a time. Heels are pushing down, sliding down the wall, trying to slide down the wall as we lift up. And then with control, keep those heels feeling like they want to slide down the wall as you slowly lower the vertebrae back down towards the mat. Really slowly. Super job. Now, if this is tricky for you to do this on the wall, you can do this with your feet flat on the floor like a normal bridge, but it does bring an extra element if you can do it with the feet against the wall. So it's really perfecting that feeling of pushing the heels into the wall enough to have grip, but not pushing into the wall, because the push feeling that you want is really about imagining you're sliding the heels down the wall. So let's go again. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs to prepare. Exhale to switch on the abs, scoop the abs, push the heels as if they want to slide down the wall, and lifting through the pelvis as the spine comes up. And at the top, we're then going to inhale and then use the exhale, switch on the abs to control the roll of the spine back down to the mat. One vertebra at a time, really slowly. Super. Just reset if your feet have had a bit of a move. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs to prepare. Exhale to scoop the abs, push the heels into the wall, but mostly down the wall, to tilt through the pelvis and curl up through the spine. You'll feel your glutes firing as you get a little bit higher. And when you've got to there, you know you've gone far enough. And then use the abs and the grip of the heels to control the roll of the spine one vertebra at a time back down to the mat. Lovely. And we go again. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs. Exhale to scoop the abs and push the heels into the wall and down the wall as you curl up through the pelvis, really feeling these muscles through the lower stomach here, lower abs. And then when the glutes start to get to work, you know you want to come back the other way. Push the heels down the wall as you control the spine. One vertebra at a time, back to the mat. And we go again. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs. Exhale to scoop the abs from the knicker line. Push the heels into the wall, and as if they want to come down the wall, tilt the pelvis to turn. There we go. Lifting one vertebra at a time, up towards the weight into the bra strap. Inhale at the top. Exhale. Keep that grip in the heels on the wall as you roll the vertebrae really slowly back down to the mat, one at a time. Lovely job, well done. Okay, so you can come away from the wall now, because we're just going to work in lying for a little bit without the need for the wall to have our feet against. So if you come to lying on your back, bring your feet to around about one hand's distance away from your bum. And you want your knees at hip width apart and your feet at hip width apart, so everything tracking in line. We're just going to move through some simple bridge work just to mobilize through the spine and increase the mobility that we have to enable us to follow the horse's movement and really be fluid and fluent, but with stability when we ride. So, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale through the nose into the back and side of the ribs. As you exhale, I want you to switch on by drawing in the lower abs from the knicker line here and gradually move that tension up through the lower abs so that you're tilting the pelvis and bringing the pelvis up off the mat and rolling up through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Come to the top. You don't want to be pushing up to the top here. This is about mobility rather than about really firing the glutes, but you will feel them come into action here at the top. Inhale at the top and then exhale. Switch on the abs to use the abs to control the spine, to roll back down to the mat, one vertebra at a time. Really focusing as you come back down towards neutral lying position on that control that you've got. Can you control each vertebra landing back on the mat smoothly and under your control? You will have sticky and lumpy bits. That is totally normal. What you need to do when you hit those is slow down and really focus on being intentional and having control over when those vertebrae hit back down onto the mat or land back down onto the mat. Nobody's hitting anywhere. It's all very smooth and lovely. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs to prepare. Exhale to scoop the abs from the knicker line, tilt the pelvis, roll up through the spine, lifting one vertebra at a time. Keep the knees tracking, don't let them splay out. And then when you get to the top, inhale at the top. Exhale to switch on the abs, to use the abs to control as you roll the spine back down to the mat. One vertebra at a time. Really focus on this bit through the lower back to make sure you're fully under control. And come back down into neutral. Lovely job. And we're going to go again. Tilt through the pelvis. So lifting and curling the tail up between the legs. One vertebra lifts up off the mat at a time. At the top, inhale. And exhale to switch on the abs and use the abs to control as you ripple that spine one vertebra at a time with control back down to the mat. Going as slowly as you need to get through any sticky bits. And go again. Rolling one vertebra at a time. Keeping control, bringing the weight up to around or just above the bra strap kind of area. You will feel the glutes firing at this point. And then inhale at the top to exhale, to control one vertebra at a time. Lay it back out, lay the spine back out one bone at a time, back onto the mat. Just have a little check-in when you're back in neutral. Make sure your things all still feel like they're in line. Ankles, knees and hips. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to tilt and lift. And roll with control, one vertebra at a time, up off the mat. At the top, inhale. And exhale, switch on the abs, use the exhale to switch on the abs and use the abs to control squeezing the vertebrae one at a time back down onto the mat. Lovely. And we go again. Exhale to scoop the abs, use the lower abs to tilt the pelvis up. Roll one vertebra at a time up off the mat with control. Inhale at the top. Exhale. Squeeze, use the abs to squeeze and lay out one at a time those vertebrae as you come back down onto the mat and back into neutral. Lovely, great job. Super. So take the hands now and you can either have them in little fists, either upright or sideways, or you can just have them flat if that's all you need. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop them underneath the bum so that we're creating that bit of tilt in the pelvis. And then from here, we're going to take the feet. You don't need the legs to be straight here, so don't worry about there being bend in the knee. But make sure the knees feel like they're coming in towards the chest. And we're going to inhale into the back and side of the ribs, and then we're going to exhale to scoop the abs, just like we were just doing with the bridge roll downs, but we're going to use the abs to lift and poke the toes towards the ceiling. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use the abs to create that curl. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then drop the feet back down to the mat. You can take the hands out and give them a little shake through. Super job, well done. Lovely. So let's come over now to lying on our front. So we're going to move through some exercises to strengthen through the full length of the back. So as riders, we can get very hung up on ab strength and what is often referred to as core strength, but actually the core is the entire torso and everything that happens inside it. So what a lot of research has actually found is that most riders, most of us normal riders, actually it's our backs where we really would benefit from doing some strengthening, but people tend to shy away from strengthening the back, which actually is a big mistake for us as riders. So we're going to come over to lying on our front. So with your forehead down to the mat, reach the legs out long behind you and reach the toes away, and let the heels just come together and the toes be slightly apart. Bring the hands down to between sort of jaw and shoulder height, and make sure you feel nice and long through the back of the neck. We're going to keep the legs reaching long. We're going to inhale into the back and side of the ribs. We're going to exhale to slide the shoulder blades down the back. Imagine you're putting those shoulder blades into your back pockets, and allow that movement and a little bit of weight into the hands to just bring the head, neck and shoulders up off the mat. Push the pubic bone down into the mat here and really focus on having those shoulder blades slide down the back. Imagine those shoulder blades sliding into your waistband. And then gently, gently and with control, we're going to lower back down to the mat. So only move as far as is comfortable in your range of motion with this movement. If all you're doing is sliding those shoulder blades down the back in towards the waist, then that is still activating the muscles that we want active here. So if that is all that's happening for you at the moment, that is absolutely still making progress. So inhale, exhale to slide the shoulder blades down the back. Imagine you're sliding them into your back pockets. Keep the toes reaching away long. A little bit of weight into the hands or as much as you need. Shoulder blades sliding down into the back pockets. Pubic bone pushes down hard into the mat. And control everything smoothly back down. Just make sure that the feet aren't splaying too far apart. Before we go again, inhale into the back and side of the ribs. Exhale to slide the shoulder blades down the back. Create a bit of a lift if you're lifting. Push the pubic bone down into the mat. Shoulder blades slide down into the waist. And control the movement back down. Keeping those shoulder blades engaged, by which I mean down and together. And we go again. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to slide the shoulder blades down and together. And allow them to create the lift. Bit of weight into the hands. Shoulder blades down the back. That's the most important thing here. Legs and toes reaching away long. And control it back down. And we go again. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Allow them to create the lift. Push the pubic bone down into the mat. Toes reach away long. Only lifting as high as is good with your current range of motion. Shoulder blades sliding down and together. And shoulder blades stay engaged, legs stay reaching away long as you control everything back down to the mat. Lovely. Super. So you can bring the hands so that you can just rest the forehead comfortably, because we're going to do a little bit of work into the legs now. So just resting the forehead on the wrist. Make sure that the feet feel like they're on the center line of your body, and we want the heels together and the toes apart. So really make sure those legs are reaching as long as they can behind you. So just get yourself nicely sort of flush with the mat by just having a little rearrange of the legs. Heels stay together, toes stay apart. Shoulders are going to stay down away from the ears. Just rest the forehead onto the wrist if that's comfortable for you, or you can continue to rest it on the mat if that's more comfortable. And we're going to move one leg at a time. And what we're going to do here is both legs are going to reach away, toes reaching away, heels falling together, toes slightly further apart. And then choose one leg, and you're going to take those toes even further away from the body, and you're going to reach them so far away with the toes slightly out and the heel slightly in, that the leg starts to lift. And then you're going to continue the lift. Use the glute muscles here to lift the leg, push the hip bone down into the mat. Take the leg as high as you can comfortably get it as it reaches long, long, long away. And then return it with control back to the mat. Go again that side. Reach the toes away, heels in, toes out. Long and reach away. Try to lift some of the front of the thigh up off the mat if you can. And go for number 3. Heels in, toes reach away, front of the foot is angled out. And go for number 4. Reach, reach, reach to really feel that leg reaching away out of the hip. And return. And 5. Reaching long and return. And last one like this. 6, reach long and return. Lovely. Just get yourself straightened out. You probably feel that like that leg slightly longer than the other leg now. Just make sure that the body feels straight and the legs are on the midline. And let's go with the other side. So other leg. So both sets of toes are reaching long away, but the other leg is going to reach even further. Make sure the heel is in and the toe is out as the leg comes up with control. Long, 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 and back down. So really reaching, number 2, reaching as long as you can with those toes, keeping that rotation of the leg. So it's about the length as much as it is about the lift, reaching it out of the hip, and control back down. Keep that rotation, kneecap pointing out. And keep the control on the way back down. And 5. Pushing that hip bone down into the mat as the leg comes up. And last one, toes reach long, heels in, toes out. Reach, 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 reach really long.
and control it back down. Lovely. Just again, check that you're straight. And take the feet slightly wider now. So not as wide as the mat, but probably around sort of comfortably around sort of hip width. Heels in, heels fall in, toes are out. Going to reach the toes long and we're going to lift both legs now. So you really want to be pushing your pubic bone down into the mat with this. So reach the toes away long and they reach so far that the legs start to lift, and then continue the lift. If you're only lifting a couple of inches, that's all good. Keep the heels in and the toes out and control them back down. We won't hold them up for so long when we're doing both of them because it's harder work. So reach the toes away long and lift and control back down. Reach the toes away long, heels in, toes out, and lift and control back down. Go again. Reaching long, pubic bone down into the mat and back down. Might feel more like you're pushing your hips into the mat. Reach, 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 reach. Toes reach away long and back down. And last one. Reach, 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 reach and lift and control back down. Lovely job. So come back now, lift back into a child's pose. Reach the arms forward. Get as much length as you can through the back. Big deep breaths. Reaching forward through the hands, lengthening down either side of the spine. Then you can walk the hands over to one side, increase the stretch down one side of the spine. Breathe some big air into the ribs on that side. Reach, reach, reach. Allow that stretch. Walk the hands back through center and over to the other side. So lengthening through that side of the spine, down that side of the waist. Reach, reach, reach. Lovely job. Super. Big deep breaths here. And then we'll walk the hands back to center. And then we're going to come up onto all fours to finish up with a variation of cat stretch. It's my variation, which I like to call travers and renvers. Well, we ask our horses to do it. And it's so good for them, and it's so good for us too. So roll the shoulders back and down, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to inhale into the back and side of the ribs to prepare. And then we're going to exhale to scoop the abs to push up into cat. Just do a couple plain first. Reach, reach, reach. And then release and just come back to neutral. So we're not going to drop the belly down and arch the back. We're just coming into sort of neutral starting position. And then we'll go again. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs. Exhale to scoop the abs to lift up into cat. And then release back just to neutral. And now what we're going to do is we're going to allow the feet to lift as we come up, because we're going to move into our renvers and travers. So inhale, exhale to scoop the abs, lift up into cat. Allow the feet just to hover off the mat, because you're going to bring the hips and the feet on one side over to one side. Feel the lengthening through the other side of the body. Come back to center and then go back over to the other side. Feel the lengthening through that side of the body, through that hip. Keep the cat stretch as you move through, taking the feet back to the first side. And then back over. And again. And just move in wherever feels good for you to move the stretch around the back and the lower back. Taking the hips over to the side and back to the other side and then back to center. And you can come back onto your heels and roll the body back up to sitting. Well done.
Great job. I hope your back is feeling good and you'll feel even better tomorrow too, I promise. So that's 4 out of the 5 key areas of the body riding system. You're so nearly there. Don't forget to check your email tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow for the 5th of our 5 key areas, the true rider's core. Not just the abs, the full 360 degrees of stabilizing muscles that we need working for us on the horse. I'll see you tomorrow.